So when I started your teachings not that long ago, everything really resonated with me, and I felt like for most of my life I've been in alignment, and I've always followed my intuition in a way that has led me to be a very happy person and have things come into alignment for me very easily. My friends have always said, "You're so lucky, things just come to you." And recently I think I've struggled to follow my emotional guidance system, and it's really the first time I feel lost, where like you're in a situation and it doesn't feel good, so you get out of it, and then that doesn't feel good, so then you have a desire to go back, and it's been confusing.
Think you're overthinking things?
Probably.
Maybe trying too hard a little bit?
Yeah.
Trying to turn on the gas before you're pointed in the right direction? Look at it this way. Without even really knowing about this, you did know that you wanted to feel good, and you did know that you are an uplifter and you wanted to be of value. And so you just sort of leaned that way, and it came fairly easily to you. So can you identify what has changed now that it feels more confusing?
There were two probably contributing factors, big areas of my life. I moved out to the West Coast, I took a new job, and started feeling more desires about what I didn't want to do work-related, and then also was in a new relationship, so...
Oh, gee. So, is it possible, without even realizing it, that at least some of your alignment that you were describing was because you were in an environment of stability where most of the conditions that you were observing didn't challenge you?
Definitely.
And so, since you weren't challenged, you really didn't know how to develop your sea legs. So you weren't really conscientious about guiding your thoughts, because your thoughts were mostly just what you were observing. We started with that here today. So how would you describe your current state of being? For example, would you say, "I now understand more clearly than ever before the importance of the direction of my thoughts"?
Yes.
And "I now understand more clearly than ever before that I have a guidance system that makes that pretty easy. I have a guidance system that could make that pretty easy. I have access to a guidance system that when I click into it, I know what to do." So it's accessing the guidance system. Last week we gave an analogy, and Esther's been laughing about it, talking to different people about it ever since, that for years the analogy that we've given about alignment is, imagine a cork floating on the surface of the water, and you can hold it under the water, and let's call that negative emotion or lack of alignment. But when you let go of it, it floats right back up to the surface again. And so we've offered that for quite a while. And then recently we've been offering the analogy about the importance of hooking in or being a vibrational match or finding resonance with your source. And that not doing that would be like vacuuming your floor without plugging the vacuum cleaner in. Going through the motions, and everyone could watch and say, good job, we see you're covering this entire floor, but you're really not accomplishing what you're setting out to accomplish. And then recently we offered another analogy, which Esther really liked because the visual in her mind was so pleasing. So here's your vacuum cleaner, you, and because you do attract through sucking. And you want to be plugged in to that source energy. So your electrical cord is alive and headed for the outlet. It knows where it wants to be. It's natural that it be there, and it's going there. Unless you're swatting it out of the way, it will get there. Unless you're pulling it back, wait a minute. Your alignment is so natural. Your alignment will happen unless you do that thing that doesn't let it happen. Your alignment will happen unless you do that thing that doesn't let it happen. What is the only thing that you do that doesn't let it happen? You think thoughts in opposition. And when you do that, you feel negative emotion. So every time you feel negative emotion, it's like you're jerking that cord back. You're not letting it hook in, because as soon as it hooks in, you'll be fully empowered. So what kinds of things, we know that you know, it'll be easy to have this conversation. What kinds of things do you notice yourself doing that are like that, where you think or speak in opposition?
I will, when I have a negative thought, instead of finding a better thought, sometimes I dive into it.
All right, so everybody does that, and you know why? Law of attraction is powerful. Because when that thought's active, if you let it be active for very long, it's naturally attracting other thoughts that match that. So the key is to catch the thoughts early, before they get so much going, and not talk to others who will add to it. What else?
Sometimes when I know what I want, if I'm too hooked into the negative emotion or the negative thoughts, I stop myself from doing things that I know would make me feel better.
Of course you do, because law of attraction sort of has you paralyzed there. You're not doing anything wrong. Law of attraction is dishing up to you more of what you've already got going on. So if you've been thinking those thoughts, then you're attracting things that compound them. You're attracting things that give evidence to them until you form a belief. A belief is just a thought that you continue to think. So there are a couple of things that you can do. One is acknowledge that and catch yourself in the early subtle stages. But what if you're like most people? And what if you have a history, even though most things were going well, of thinking thoughts that are not working for you and them picking up momentum, and you just got in the habit of following the thought wherever it went? What if every time you get on that subject, that's right where your mind goes? So how could you possibly release yourself from that kind of momentum? Well, the good news is every time you know what you don't want, you launch a rocket about what you do want. So you have been, without knowing it, you've been increasing the momentum of your desire a lot. And it's formulated in this vibrational reality. We are forming this circle because it's attracting cooperative components. We call it a vortex because we wanted you to accept the reality of it, even though you can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it. It is real. So knowing that it's real, even though you can't find the thought, knowing that it's real, doesn't that sort of kind of make you feel better?
It does.
So when you say, I know what I want is out there, even though I can't find it yet, knowing that it is out there, does that make you feel better or worse?
Better.
Makes me feel good knowing it's out there, even though I can't find it. So then you said to us, because you got really tired of us talking about this vortex, all right, Abraham, enough about this invisible magic place. How do I get the money out of the vortex and into the bank? How does this become a reality worth talking about? Because you can say all of these words, it just sounds like another fantasy. You can say the words, how can I prove to myself this vortex exists? Because words don't teach, it's only life experience that teaches. How can I prove to myself that this is a real thing? And so in the beginning of your questions, we said things to you like, well, you've got to get into the vortex. Well, that didn't go over very well with you because, first of all, you don't even really believe the thing exists because you can't see it or hear it. You can't translate it through your physical senses. And you like us, we know you do, but it's hard to believe things that you haven't proven through your own experience. Get into the vortex, get into the vortex, get into the vortex, get into the vortex. And it's like you want to scream, like we don't want to go in there. We do. We want to go in there. We just can't find the door. We want to go in there where everything that we want is. We want the full experience of that. So then we began speaking to you about the vibrational properties of what's in the vortex. It only contains wanted. It doesn't contain absence of wanted. So if you're walking around really keenly aware of the absence of things that you want, even though the vortex is there with everything that you do want, can you feel the problem there? You're vibrationally so far apart because what's active in you is the absence of what you want, and what's active in your vortex is the presence of what you want. You're on different frequencies. You can't receive it. So then we began saying, you must get into the receiving mode of what's in your vortex, which means only one thing. It doesn't mean you have to know it all. You have to be able to describe it in full detail. It doesn't mean that you have to understand the whole workings of the universe and understand universal laws and explain them. It just means you got to stop doing that thing that doesn't let you be in the receiving mode. Well, how do you know when you're not in the receiving mode? You feel negative emotion. We think you know, if you pay attention, what kinds of thoughts and words and actions you're offering that bring negative emotion. It's not hard. If you're doing that thing that doesn't let you be in the receiving mode, so what's in the vortex can be received by you, if you're doing that thing that doesn't let that happen, and every time you do it you feel negative emotion, that's a clue. Negative emotion is pointing right at it. There you're doing it. There you're doing it. When you're belittling yourself, you're doing it. This makes sense, doesn't it? So then you say, okay, I've caught myself 1,000 times today, Abraham. I did it quite a bit today. I did it, but I can't stop doing it. I can't stop doing it because I get the thought, and then the thought gets bigger, and then I can't stop doing it. What should I do? How can I get in the receiving mode when my practice thoughts, when my beliefs keep dishing up, because law of attraction helps me, contradictory thoughts? And we say, got to stop the thought. And you say, drugs. Not exactly what we meant. You've got to stop the thought. Got to stop the thought. Oh, I'll go to sleep. That's kind of like drugs. It's temporary. So how do I stop the thought so that I can find resonance with what's in my vortex? And here are the new words that you came here today to hear. How can I stop the thought and allow the resonance so that my source can teach the physical me the vibration of it? If I could just be awake, not asleep, awake, not under the influence. If I could just be awake and stop the resistant thought, the vibration of my source, the influence of my source, the influence of the energy that creates worlds will inundate me. It will fill my mind. It will show the cells of my body and the faculties of my mind. It will teach me that vibration if I will allow myself that space of that resonating. And you say, how do I do that? And we say, quiet your mind. What do you mean? Meditate. Oh no, not that again. Quiet your mind, which means stop the thought, which means find something to focus upon that's not that interesting. And as you quiet your mind, you'll feel it. You'll feel the detachment beginning to come. And if you do that every day for 15 or 20 minutes, so you quiet your mind and your vibration rises, and as your vibration rises, you feel the resonance. The source energy that is you will offer a vibration that is so compelling and so influential that the vibration of your being will begin to mimic it. It will become it. It will be you. Until before long, you will be a vibrational reflection of everything that you've been asking for, and no longer a reflection of the opposite. Did you hear it? So we could have a lot of conversations, and we actually like to do that. You could say blah, 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 and we could say blah, 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 and you could say blah, blah, blah. And can you hear how much better our blah, blah, blah is than your blah, blah, blah? You could say, I'm not sure what I'm doing, and we would say, well, you're getting better at this. And you could say, well, I once used to be better at it, and we would say, well, you can be better at it again. And you say, well, I'm not maintaining it very well. And we say, nothing that has been in the past makes any difference. And you could say, well, I really want to get my bearings here. And we say, you're getting your bearings. And you could say, well, I'm not sure what to do. And we would say, but your guidance system does know and is offering it to you continually. We could talk and talk and talk, and we could soothe and soothe and soothe, and that helps too. That's what selectively sifting of thoughts does. Or you could take the shortcut. You could find 15 or 20 minutes in the morning of your day. It's better in the morning because not so much momentum has got going in opposition to your alignment. You could quiet your mind, and you could allow your vibration to rise, and you could allow that resonance to be there, and you could begin to receive impulses and ideas that then, when you follow them and the results are obvious, now you're also observing the results, which causes you to compound or practice longer. In other words, so the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. So much so that in a very short period of time, you come to the hot seat and you say, Abraham, in the past, oh, never mind, the past doesn't matter. Frequently, what I'm noticing is I'm so tuned in that I just feel great all the time. And I have this spirit of adventure and passion about things. And everything's good with me. Just want to report in. See what we're getting at?